The last cup of tea, the rain tapped gently on the old wooden balcony, filling the silence between two teacups. For 30 years, Harish and Leela had ended every evening like this, sitting side by side, sipping their tea, watching the world change and seasons fade. It wasn't just a cup of tea. It was their ritual, a quiet promise that no matter how hard life became, they would always come back to this moment, together. The habit of love. Harish was a retired schoolteacher, gentle, disciplined, the kind of man who still ironed his shirts even though he no longer went to work. Leela, once full of laughter and stories, now moved a little slower, her silver hair tied neatly into a bun. Every evening at 6 o'clock sharp, she would bring 2 steaming cups of tea, one with extra sugar for him, one with cardamom for herself. They'd sit in the same 2 chairs, talk about the same little things, the neighbor's cat, the news, their grown-up children who rarely called. Sometimes they didn't speak at all. They didn't need to. 30 years had made silence their sweetest language. The night that changed everything. One evening, as Leela poured tea, she noticed Harish rubbing his chest. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice trembling. He smiled weakly. "Just a little tired." Minutes later, the cup slipped from his hands, crashing onto the floor. Leela screamed his name, the name she had whispered every morning for 3 decades. But this time, there was no answer. Within minutes, the ambulance's siren filled their quiet lane. Leela followed it to the hospital, clutching his shawl against her chest like it was a lifeline. The empty balcony days passed. The chair beside her stayed empty. Every evening at 6. Leela still brewed 2 cups of tea, one for herself, one for him. She placed his cup on the table, letting the steam rise into the air, pretending he was still there, still watching the rain. Neighbors told her to stop. Her son told her to move on. But how could she? How could a heart unlearn the rhythm of love it had known for 30 years? So she kept waiting, waiting for his return, even if it was only in memory, a faint whisper after a week. The doctor called. "Mrs. Mera?" "He's awake." Leela dropped everything, her shawl, her slippers, even her tears, and ran. When she entered the hospital room, she saw him, pale, fragile, but alive. His eyes fluttered open, finding hers. "Leela," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I thought our time had ended." She smiled through her tears, holding his hand tightly. "Our time doesn't end, Harish. It just pauses until the next cup of tea." The reunion when he came home weeks later. Leela prepared tea again. Her hand shook as she poured it into his favorite cup, the one with a small crack that she had never thrown away. They sat together once more on the balcony. The rain fell softly, just like before. He reached for her hand, eyes glistening. "This tea," he said quietly, "tastes like life, bitter, sweet, and warm because of you." Leela smiled, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Then let's never let it go cold again." Moral, *, true love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about showing up, cup after cup, day after day, even when life tries to take one away. Love doesn't end when hearts stop beating. It lives on in the small rituals we refuse to forget.